Lost in a bidding hole on eBay because there's always something new to admire. But while most of us might stick to bidding on clothes, shoes, and accessories, some people are prepared to spend thousands or even millions of dollars on unusual items they've only ever seen through the screen. Make sure to stick around until the end to hear about the Russian billionaire who spent $168 million on an item that hadn't even been built yet. Before we dive into it, do you like videos full of interesting facts? Check out our friends over at Brainiac, who are serving up freshly squeezed brain juice every week. We're going to throw you in at the deep end to start off this video because we're yet to find anything more ridiculous than this item. If that is, we can even call it an item. A man named Ian Usher was struggling in his life with no direction or idea of what he wanted from the future. So he decided to put his life in somebody else's hands by quite literally selling his life on eBay. How much is a life worth, you ask? Well, approximately $309,292. Ian reached the point of desperation after his wife left him, and so auctioned his entire life, car, home, job, and friends on eBay in a midlife crisis that puts everyone else's to shame. But don't start to feel too sorry for Ian, because his plan might just have been the best thing he ever did. Once he'd sold off everything important, he took the proceeds and made a fresh start, traveling the world armed with nothing but a list of life goals. Nowadays, Ian lives on an idyllic 2.2-acre island off the coast of Panama and has learned French and how to fly a plane, met Sir Richard Branson, and scored a part in a Hollywood movie. Next, we'll move on to another crazy item sold on eBay for even more money. One Pennsylvania collector agreed in 2001 to pay $577,610 for shoeless Joe Jackson's bat, Black Betsy, one of sports' most fabled artifacts. If you're not a sporting fan, you might not hold this bat with the same level of regard as the collector.
I'll bet you it won't. It won't.
But surprisingly, they weren't the only one to place a bid. In fact, there were two people bidding it out on eBay for the bat at a higher and higher cost as the seconds ticked by. The winning bid was made by Rob Mitchell, the owner of a marketing company in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Rather than framing the bat or placing it somewhere where it could be appreciated for its history as well as its value, he decided to display the bat in the company offices. The seller was a man called Lester Irwin, who kept the bat on a bookcase for decades after getting the 40-ounce bat from Jackson's wife, Katie, who was a cousin of Irwin's mother. This might seem like a high cost, but Rob was convinced he was getting a bargain.
I come to bargain.
Now here's a story with a suspicious edge. In 2012, car fans went nuts for an abandoned Ferrari that had been left at an airport in Dubai. This wasn't just any old abandoned car, but one that came with $1 million price tag. The actual recommended retail price of the vehicle was significantly larger, which is why so many people were quick to jump online and bid for the car to become theirs. This specific type of car, the Ferrari Enzo, is one of the most expensive and fastest cars ever produced by the luxury Italian car maker. Made of carbon fiber, its top speed is 217 miles per hour. Only 400 Enzos were ever made, but at least 3 have run into bad luck. Depending on how superstitious you are, this might make you think twice about bidding. The government often holds auctions of abandoned Emirati cars due to the large amount of airports in the region, but this one was more impressive than most. However, once people had caught sight of the listing, the car was taken off the site. It seemed that the car was being held back due to a possible connection with a crime. By now, you're probably wondering what sort of people would splash more than $1 million on something they've never seen in real life. But we're only just getting started. So next, let's move on to the anonymous buyer who spent a huge $1.1 million on a Honus Wagner baseball card. The Honus Wagner card is extremely rare.
Among baseball card collectors, it is known as the Holy Grail.
As production was halted when the ball player refused to grant permission to use his likeness. And so each time this famous card has passed hands, it's gained more and more value.
Got it. Need it. Got it. Oh, I know you. Oh, I need it. please.
The card previously sold in 2014 for $657,250, and again in 2016 for $776,750. And in May 2019, it sold for the even higher price of more than $1 million. The card was graded in just good to condition out of a possible 10 by Professional Sports Authenticator. This wasn't a factor that appeared to worry the anonymous buyer, despite the obvious surface wear and accelerated rounding on its corners. Forbes reported that just 75 cards are believed to exist of this type, so maybe it was a good investment piece after all. What